Hello and welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. I'm your host, Ryan Meza, and I'm super excited to introduce my next guest here with me today. Been waiting for her to be on the show for so long. She's new to Spokane, starting her own business here, and I'm joined with Dr. Amanda Randolph. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm so excited to be here. It'll be really fun.
Yes, so you started your own company here in Spokane, AdjustMeant Chiropractic.
Yes.
You got your degree over in Life Chiropractic College West in Hayward, California. And I just wanted to talk to you about chiropractic, really. I know there's always like this unknown question of what it does for you, but I know you were an athlete growing up. You've had ACL injuries, neck injuries, and you started going to a chiropractor. How was that experience for you?
Right. I'll try to make a long story somewhat short, but like you said, athlete my whole life, soccer, volleyball player, sustaining just multiple chronic injuries from that, shoulder, knees, etc. But it wasn't until my sophomore and junior year of college where I was actually just playing intramural sorority sports, and I tore my ACL 2 years in a row.
Oh my gosh.
And I always thought that I was going to go to physical therapy school after my undergraduate degree, but something just felt a little bit off for me. It didn't feel right, so I decided to take a gap year. And it wasn't until my gap year, I didn't start under chiropractic care because of my sports injuries. What ended up happening is I took this job that I ended up actually completely hating, but I was working at a computer all the time and I was on the phone, and from some past neck injury that I had, I fell on my neck in flexion from about 6 feet, and I never got it looked at. And so when I was on the phone doing stuff like this, my neck was on fire.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it got to a point where both of my pinkies they were completely numb. They were it was hot, burning, but numb at the same time. And so I just decided to find a chiropractor. I had heard they could help, right, with neck pain, back pain, and stuff, right? I looked for a chiropractor as close as I could possibly find to my apartment complex. And I started under care, and I remember my very first adjustment was this what the heck moment. It was, it probably sounds super cliche coming from me who's now a chiropractor because it meant so much, but as soon as I got adjusted, it felt like this light kind of got turned back on that I didn't know was off. And reflecting back now, there was a period in college after I had fallen on my neck that my grades were really crappy. My mood swings were all over the place. I couldn't hold down a relationship. My friendships were all over the place. There was just a lot of chaos that ensued after that injury. And as soon as I got adjusted, it was what the heck? I had energy again. I was able to regulate my mood a lot better. My whole life changed after I started getting adjusted. So, yes, life of an athlete, but I never really thought about becoming a chiropractor until I could feel the emotional changes that it made in my life.
Yeah, most definitely. And I feel like people associate chiropractics with just physical things, my neck hurts, can you help me out?
Yeah, and low back pain.
Exactly, just all about the spine. But there's so much more to chiropractic than physical things, emotionally, spiritually, stuff like that you were mentioning. How does that play factor into it?
The research is still coming out, so there's, I can't say too much definitively. I can only speak to how it feels in my body, but one of the connections that we have been focusing a lot on, especially in chiropractic research, is the effect of a chiropractic spinal manipulation or adjustment on the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex is this front part of your brain that controls your executive motor function, it controls your mood, it controls social engagement. So if we start to dive into that part of your brain and all of the things that it does for you, then we can start to really, research speaking, talk about the mind-body connection. We all know it's there, right? But we all want the words and the randomized control studies to tell us that it's there. So that's how it plays a role, one of the ways. And then there's also studies that have been shown, even just something as simple as posture, right? If you go into an interview, right?
Check mine.
I'm a chiropractor, got to put my shoulders up. They did research that if you go into an interview, they either told you to sit like this before the interview, arms crossed, shoulders down and slouched, or they told you to do a power pose before the interview, arms up, shoulders back, right? It was 9 times out of 10, the individuals that they had do the power pose before the interview was the one who got the job. So we know how much posture affects your mental well-being too, right? When you're sad and you're feeling, when you're sad and feeling crappy, the first thing that you do is like,
Uh-huh.
I just want to go in a fetal position. Like I want to
Exactly.
hide, right?
Yeah.
And then you see a difference in people who feel really warm, welcoming, confident, and they get their shoulders back. Again, that's another mind-body connection. We know that through chiropractic care, you get better posture. We have the results all over the place, right?
Yeah.
But why do you feel better? Not your pain, like you and your core.
Yes.
Why do you feel better afterwards, right? And so again, the research is still coming out, but we know it's all there.
And I see it. I could testify. I am a patient of Amanda, so
Yeah.
I definitely have felt that kind of sense of energy in myself as well going to you.
Right.
I had like knee pains and all that. You know my history, but just like my energy and like the way I go about my days now after going to you has been amazing. And you're like the first chiropractor I've ever seen. So
Sweet.
It definitely is a very much mind, body, soul experience.
Right.
And I just want to ask you why. What's your why for doing this? I know you kind of had this experience of yours, but what made you start this company of yours with your partner, Dr. Lincoln, in Spokane?
So COVID, honestly. I have always wanted to be a business owner, but I didn't think it was going to happen so soon after school. I graduated in March, technically, and got my license here in June. And we thought that we were going to work for a doc in San Francisco, but with just the chaos that ensued, all that anybody wants right now is a little bit of comfort. And so we decided to come to Lincoln's hometown, which is Spokane, where we have some family support. And we just decided, like, we wanted to do what we wanted to do in our office. We didn't want anybody else to be able to tell us what to do, and we wanted to be able to connect with people authentically. So essentially, that's why we decided to start our own business right now. My chiropractic why I decided to do chiropractic in general is that I saw how different my life was after I started getting adjusted and how connected I was to myself and to other people. Before that, it was kind of like this, I felt like I was just floating and in between. I didn't feel like I had a purpose, right? I felt really disconnected, whether that's mental or the actual physical part, right? And I just knew that the world would be a better place if every single person was more connected to themselves. There wouldn't be as much chaos and division and all of that stuff. So that's why we do chiropractic. My goal is my goal is especially to work with women ages 20 to 30 years old. Women just have a really big place in my heart. Men do too, but like, just you're welcome. For me, there was just, I think because I was so lost as like a young, early 20-year-old woman, just trying to figure out where I fit in this world. So I just have a really big place in my heart.
Most definitely.
And I just was able to find a little bit more structure in after I started under chiropractic care. And I want to help those young women be able to do the same thing.
Yeah, so. That's awesome. I love that. And you've branched out so much. You want to focus on women as well, but you've done so much during your time as chiropractic and going into schooling. You went to El Salvador and Mexico and traveled to Central America and all these places and did your practice there on people who were working always on their feet. What was that experience like, going to third world countries and doing that?
Dude, it was crazy. Here, I feel like just because we have so much access to medical everything, chiropractic is looked at like, oh, it's just for your back pain. It's quackery. It's all these things that have been said,
ASMR,
right?
All this fun stuff.
Right. When you go over there, especially the areas that we went to, El Salvador, and I went to Malinalco, Mexico, which is this tiny, beautiful little town. The people there just like, hearts are so much more open to you. There hasn't been all of that same conversation about what chiropractic is or what it isn't. It's based solely off of your connection with them on the table. And so, we bring our tables and we kind of just meet up in one of their town squares kind of. And we're not just adjusting the government officials and the people that are like, super high up and wealthy, right? We're in it with the people who are working all day, every day out in the squares, and the just love and connection that they have with you, and the way that their eyes light up on the table after you've given them just a beautiful connected adjustment. They see you and you see them. And I don't speak any Spanish whatsoever. But you can communicate in so much more
you break
than just
that language
the words.
barrier, for sure.
So that was beautiful. And getting to serve the kids on that trip, too. I saw so many little ones. they just don't have the opportunity for chiropractic care
Yeah.
there, right? So there was this kid who his parents had these heel lifts in his shoes, and I checked his pelvis, and it was so rotated, and so we just gave him a very light specific adjustment, and his leg lengths evened.
Wow.
And it's hard to say what they did with that information afterwards because we only get to see them for a short time.
Yeah.
But it can be life-changing, as simple as that.
Yeah,
you know?
most definitely. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, Amanda.
Yeah.
I love that you had that experience, and I'm sure it
Thanks.
was so eye-opening and being able to break that language barrier
Yeah.
in a different country. That's
Just
so
being able to
beautiful.
connect with somebody,
Yeah.
without the language. It's actually almost a lot easier to connect with
Yeah.
somebody when you don't feel like you have to express yourself verbally all
Yeah,
the time, right?
exactly. That's so awesome. And I
Yeah.
know you guys kind of carry that kind of connection within your company. You guys
Right.
have the core values of respect, desire to improve, community, trust, authenticity, and
Right.
awareness of
Right.
like your body.
Right.
Why'd you pick those as your core values?
Yeah. Well, one, trust. I don't think that we get anywhere without trusting one another, but also trusting in just the inherent goodness of each individual, and just knowing that if anything anything bad that happens in their life, it's just the experiences of their life.
Yeah.
So trust is a really big thing. I trust in the inherent goodness of every single person that's on my table, and I want to help unleash and unlock that potential for them so that they can go out and impact the world in a better way.
Definitely.
Authenticity, if you don't show up as yourself, the world will never get to know your gifts. And so if you're like hiding behind all of these facades of who you are expected to be, who somebody else is telling you to be, you're not showing up with all of the purpose and love and uniqueness that you were designed for in this lifetime. And so trying to help break down some of those barriers for
Yeah.
people, and that is through the reconnection to self, right?
Yeah.
When you are go, go, go all the time, you have all these external factors, you're stressed out of your mind,
Yeah.
you never feel like your best self, right? So how do we get you back to center so that you can create the life that you want, you can impact the world in the way that you want? So authenticity.
Yeah, definitely.
What are we talking about? Community?
Yes.
You
Especially
don't get
here.
through anything alone.
I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Because you're new to Spokane.
Yeah.
You're from Arizona. You went to Northern Arizona University.
Yeah.
Spokane's a new community for you.
Yeah.
How has that been, trying to navigate a new community here in Spokane?
So difficult.
Especially during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't think starting a business is like easy probably for anybody, I'm assuming, but we decided to start a business in the middle of quarantine and
Yeah.
COVID and 2020 and all the other things that are
everything.
happening right now. It hasn't been easy. I moved here on May 1st, and so that whole first month was still like quarantine,
Yeah.
like shutdown kind of thing. So there wasn't an opportunity for me to really meet anybody my age or
Yeah.
anything like that. So I actually decided, starting in June when everything opened back up again, I decided to work at a restaurant again, which
Yeah,
is something that I
awesome.
never thought that I was going to do. And it was really humbling. It was really nice to be like, put your ego away. Just
Yeah.
because you went to school for so long
Exactly.
doesn't mean you don't go back and make money when you need to,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I worked at No Lie for 2 months, and it was so fun. I met so many
Yeah,
great people.
so much fun.
So it's not easy to meet new people in a new place.
Yeah.
But if you have the courage to do it and continue to step out of your comfort zone, it gets easier.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I also really love my CrossFit gym that I go to. It's been one of
Yeah.
the best community building environments that I've been in. CrossFit Spokane, if anybody's listening,
Shout
shout out. Yeah, so building a business during this time, it's not even just friends. It's like, oh crap, like where do I meet
Yeah.
patients? I am starting from ground
Yeah.
zero.
I met you at No Lie.
Yeah,
You were my server.
exactly.
And I was like watching probably like a chiropractic video, and you're
know.
like, hey, I'm a chiropractor.
I know.
Just that easy.
And I'm glad that it was that easy.
Yeah.
I talked to so many other people like, oh, I'm a chiropractor, but they're looking at me like,
Cool.
but you're also my server. This is
Yeah.
really confusing. I'm like, I know.
Exactly.
I promise I am though.
Like I actually ordered a water
Yeah,
instead. Yeah.
yeah.
Like I don't want to talk about it, but that's so awesome how you can just connect in that way
Yeah.
in different environments that
Right.
you weren't thinking of meeting people in that community.
People will always come to you if you have a purpose and a passion and you just live that every single day through your authentic self. People will resonate with it and the right people will be there for you. I don't try to be anybody that I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
definitely.
a big buff chiropractor,
Yeah.
I'm tiny little me, and it's been perfect for my
Yeah.
patients that have come in. Yeah, so there's
Perfect.
somebody for
I love
everybody.
it. That's so awesome. And so I just want to talk to you about how can someone book an appointment with you?
Yeah. So many ways. If you go to our Instagram, the AdjustMeant Chiropractic, and adjustment is spelled MEANT, like you're meant to be adjusted.
Okay, love it.
Meant to adapt to
Yes.
life, etc. You can book directly from our Instagram page. If you don't want to go on Instagram, if you don't have Instagram, theadjustment.com. You can find us on Google. We're on Yelp. Just starting that up. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. Trying.
Yeah.
And then through there, we also have a Google phone number, so it's as
Perfect.
easy as a text or a call, too.
Perfect.
Yep.
Awesome. And we'll provide the little...
Yeah, the links to
everyone
it.
can follow you. Everyone
love
can
that.
make an appointment. And I know
Yeah.
some exciting things are in the works for your company as well. You're starting a new
Yes.
location.
Yes.
Getting your own space, being able to do your practice in there.
Right.
Where will that be located?
2320 North Atlantic Street.
Okay.
It's right across the street from the general store on North Division.
Nice.
We have started our practice out of a small conference room in a real estate office in a 10 by 10 space. And we, for the last 3 or 4 months, have been building out our space where we're going to hold, our big practice where we'll be able to accommodate for so many more practice members. I love that my patients have trusted me and been with me through this process.
We're along for the ride.
Yeah, everyone's so
sure.
interested, like, when is it going to happen?
Yeah.
So it should probably be in another month or so, and we will have the big office space already. We are still taking patients right now, but you just get to see our cute little conference
Good.
room
Love
first.
it.
Yeah.
The little sneak peek.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda, for joining me
you.
today. I'm so excited for you and
Thank
what the
you.
future has to hold for you in Lincoln as well.
Thank you.
I'm wishing the best for you.
Thanks for having me on. This is really fun. One of my
Yes.
first interviews or
Good.
things like this as
Your
a new business
debut.
owner.
Your debut appearance.
Yeah, so really good. Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. That's all the time we have here today on The Pulse. I'm Ryan Meza. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.